Good evening, welcome to Marty's Tying Bench. Tonight I'm putting together kits for Vice Squad again, and this session I've picked this Evil Weevil. Such a cool name. I've just discovered it a long time ago. I wish I could be certain who to credit for it, but the best I can do is say it's not mine, but I like it. This is a nice heavy point fly, just buggy looking. It's not meant to imitate anything specific. A little green drake in it, a little stonefly in it. We'll start with a size 10 Dai Riki 135. And I got a 1/8 inch bead on it. This one's brass. The lead is .020, and I've just made 10 wraps. And by making the same number of wraps every time, it helps serve as an index. Sink that behind the bead, and it'll help me keep my proportions consistent from fly to fly. The thread is, you can use any thread. Black works pretty good. I chose an olive so it'll blend in with the dubbing a little. I'm just going to get a bundle of pheasant tail fibers, and you can go ahead and make this one bushy if you like. For the length of the tail, it's kind of, half the length of the hook shank. For the shellback, I'm using a ThinSkin. You can use just about any color of ThinSkin. This one is olive, a light olive. It's almost chartreuse. A little duller here when you get the back peeled off of it. It needs to be kind of thin, or else it'll wrap around and get in the way of the legs. So I'm going to do the best I can to get that centered on top, and then stretch it over the hook and bring the thread down, and you can see through the thin skin until you get to your tie-in point, so there's no gap of tail showing. My wire is Brassie sized, and this is a hot yellow. Gold works very well, of course. This one's just a little brighter. You can do a lot of substitution on this fly with colors of wire and dubbing and thin skin. I'm just going to get a small amount of Arizona synthetic dubbing. Peacock. This is a light peacock. And I always like to get one turn behind my wire when I've got a shellback coming over the top. And you can keep that thorax, or excuse me, keep that abdomen somewhat slender. I guess you can't really call it slender, but I'm not making it bulky. And I'm going to pull the thin skin over the top. Make sure it's centered. Then we'll come around with nice evenly spaced ribs. And when I get to the front, I make that last turn right over those thread turns. And then I'll make one more turn in front. And that'll let me tie this off tightly enough that I can torment the wire here until it breaks. Now that tiny bit of dubbing there, if I didn't have that, I would be plucking some out anyway, because I want a little bit of just a tiny ramp in front of that thin skin. What that will do is make your hinge nice and neat, so again there's no gap showing, and it'll provide a ramp for your legs For legs, I'm using a goose biot. This one is Nature Spirit, pale olive. And again, you can mix and match with these components. And I'm going to figure out which way it curves and just set it on the side so that it curves away from the body. And I'm just going to hold it in place and get a couple of wraps and check. The length I'm looking for is somewhere between the back of the body and the end of the tail. And then I'm going to place the far biot. And as you move your thread back against that little ramp you made, they'll stay spread out nicely. Trim. And back to the dubbing. This dubbing's really lumpy in your hand, but if you get it situated on the thread and just kind of tease it into shape before you start dubbing it to the thread, it's actually not too bad. And just make that thorax a little bit bigger around than the abdomen, or at least as big around as the abdomen. Fold the thin skin over and tie a wing case. Now these whipped finish turns are on top of thin skin and they're on top of lead, so I don't trust that knot. I'm just going to get just a tiny bit of head cement on these. There, now I trust it. And it helps to take a piece of Velcro or a dubbing brush and just make it bushy out in the front. So there you go, Evil Weevil.